This is the Saros 10R robot vacuum and mop from Roborock, and honestly, it's one of the most impressive robot vacuums I've tried so far. I know that a lot of people are curious about whether it really makes life easier, or if it's just another fancy gadget. So in this quick review video, I want to share my honest thoughts and real-life experience with the Saros 10R, especially for anyone new to these smart gadgets or just looking for a trustworthy helper at home. Starting with the way this thing looks and feels, the Saros 10R is not your typical bulky robot vacuum. When I first unboxed it, I noticed right away how sleek it is. It's actually pretty slim, only about 3.14 inches tall. For me, this was a big plus because so many other robot vacuums have that little round tower LiDAR on top, and that just keeps them from fitting under most of my furniture. With the Saros 10R, because of its low profile, I can just let it go and clean under my sofa, coffee table, even some cabinets without having to lift anything. I have to say, it makes a difference if you've ever had to move furniture just to vacuum. The overall build feels solid and modern, with a nice matte black finish and minimal buttons. It looks good in my living room, so I don't mind leaving it out on the dock. Now, about actually using it. My first experience was honestly a little bit of nervous excitement. I've had other robot vacuums before that got lost or tangled around stuff, and I really just wanted something that works without me babysitting it. Setting it up was straightforward. I downloaded the Roborock app, connected the Saros 10R to my Wi-Fi, and followed the prompts. The app itself is pretty user-friendly, with clear instructions on how to set up cleaning schedules or maps. I did run into a little hiccup during the very first mapping run, where it got stuck behind a chair leg. But after I moved the chair and let it remap, it figured out my space pretty quickly. From my experience so far, the Saros 10R has done a great job adjusting to my home. One of the key features, in my opinion, is the front-facing sensor system, which Roborock calls the star sight. Instead of spinning around and bumping into stuff, the Saros 10R uses this tech to find its way, even under my low furniture and around my plant stands. I found it especially good at sensing obstacles that other robots just run into. It even took pictures of socks and dog toys it found, and I got notified on the app with a little snapshot, which is kind of neat if you have kids or pets around. For cleaning, I was really curious about the vacuum and mop combo. I have a mix of hardwood, rugs, and tile at home, and keeping all of that clean is a pain, especially with a dog that sheds and sometimes brings in muddy paw prints. The Saros 10R is strong. The suction is legit. I've seen it pick up pet hair, crumbs, and even heavier stuff like bits of gravel brought in from outside. What really blew me away was how it leaves the mop pads back at the dock when it just needs to vacuum. So, when I set it to clean my carpets, it drops the mop pads and rolls out, which keeps my carpets from getting wet. And if you forget, the robot has a sensor to automatically lift the mop pads when it's on carpet. I can't stress enough how convenient that is compared to other robot mops, which sometimes drag a wet mop right over your rug. I also want to talk about the brushes. Saros 10R has this dual divide brush system, which is basically two split rollers that are supposed to stop long hair from getting tangled. I have both long hair and a dog, so I know how annoying it is to clean hair out of a vacuum. With this robot, I actually checked the roller after about 2 weeks, and there was barely any hair stuck there. The side brush extends out. Roborock calls it FlexiArm, so it gets deep into corners and along baseboards. It's perfect for pet owners or anyone with long hair in the house. The dock that comes with it is not just for charging. It auto-empties the dustbin, washes the mop pads with hot water, dries them with hot air, and refills the water tank. In my experience, this has made life so much easier because I don't have to clean the mop pads by hand or empty the small bin after every run. The dock even dispenses detergent for mopping and will rewash and remop if it thinks the floors are especially dirty, like if there are muddy paw prints. The first time it did that, I wasn't expecting it, but seeing the dirty water tank fill up faster than usual, I realized it does pay attention to how dirty the mop water is and sends itself back to clean again if necessary. Another thing I use a lot is the app features. I set schedules for when I'm out at work, and the robot keeps everything clean without me hearing it run. The Saros 10R is super quiet compared to my old vacuums. I can have a video call or watch TV while it's cleaning. There's also a built-in camera, which was new to me. You can use the app to check in on pets when you're not home. I tried it, and while my dog was a little confused at first, it's a fun feature if you're into that sort of thing. Of course, no device is perfect. There are a few things I noticed that might bother some people. The biggest thing, for me, is the internal dust bin size. It holds about 270 milliliters, which is smaller than some other robot vacuums I've used. While the dock empties it out automatically, if you have a particularly messy house, think shedding pets or a lot of tracked-in dirt, you might want to check and change the dock's dust bag and dirty water tank more often. The dock itself is kind of big, so you'll need to find a spot with enough clearance. The navigation is really smart most of the time, but every now and then it can get tripped up by weird clutter, especially if chairs or toys are scattered around. It's better than most, but I have seen it bump a Lego block and get a little confused. Still, after a few runs, it usually maps around whatever changed in the house. I have had one or two minor software glitches where notifications didn't come through on my phone, or it took a bit to update the mapping. I haven't run into anything major, but it's something to keep in mind if you rely a lot on app notifications.